Welcome back, everyone. As you probably guessed from the title of the video, today we're going over the Surefire Scout series, and basically this is a new addition to it with the built-in mounts on them. That's not insignificant. One of the big benefits of it, number one, is that it allows you on almost every system to get it really close to the rail that you're using it on. Additionally, it doesn't cost any more than the standard Scouts. So of course the standard Scouts came with the 1913 mount, but a lot of folks out there would take them and use aftermarket mounts to get them as close in as possible to the gun, whether that be a traditional AR rail or like a Ultimac on an AK or whatever the case may be. And the reasons you want to do that, well, there's twofold, right? Number one, the closer it is to your bore, the less likely it is to bump on stuff, to snag on stuff, etc. Like, so if you look at this setup here, there's not a lot of room back there, and if you have the rifle slung, it's harder for stuff to get in there than if it was out here on the edge, if that makes sense. Additionally, it's less likely that you're going to bump into stuff in closed-in environments. I have seen, literally, I can't count the amount of times I've seen folks try to go through a doorway and bump their light on the door, on the door jamb. I've seen it so many times that I, again, just can't count it. This minimizes that effect. Additionally, all the different models, both the 500 lumen, the 1000 lumen, the 1500 lumen, all of them are the same exact price as the previous versions. So with that, you know, a lot of the aftermarket mounts are going to be, for a good one, anywhere from $30 to $60. So it eliminates that cost as well. And really, it's pretty versatile in terms of how easy it is to get it close to the actual gun. So we'll show you sort of how the system works, and then we'll check out the beam pattern, just because I'm sure there's a lot of folks watching this that haven't seen the beam pattern from these two lights, the original ones. And then at the end, we'll sort of wrap it up with what I think of them overall. Before we get into the mounting and the beam pattern, I want to thank today's sponsor, and the sponsor of today's video is Big Daddy Unlimited. For those that don't know, their sort of tagline in the industry is that they're the Costco of the gun world. So they buy things at distributor pricing and then sell them direct to you at that pricing. The catch, I guess you could say, if there is one, the way they make money is on their membership. So you have to be a member, and then you get access to discounted prices, oftentimes below MAP, which certainly is good because a lot of companies are really weird about that. And if you're a member, then you're not violating the minimum advertised pricing guidelines that a lot of companies have. So there is that. There will be a link down below if you guys want to check out the Surefire lights over there, which by far and away, they are the cheapest in general at Big Daddy Unlimited. And if you aren't a member, you can also sign up at that link as well. They still have their first month, 30-day, 99-cent trial membership if you just want to get in there, check it out, and see what's going on behind the login screen. Sorry about the sort of shade sunlight mix here, but we're going to walk you through the installation. It's basically the same on both. You're going to want to loosen this bolt here up, and I think I may have mentioned it earlier, I don't really remember, but if you want to change the orientation of the light on your gun, so just for example, we'll use this guy here. So I tend to like my lights on the left side, right? If I wanted to put it on the right side, however, it's very simple to do. All you do is just take this out, pull your bolt like that, and then at this point you can just switch this over and put it back in, and that's how you switch the orientation of it. So works the same with the 1913 mount as well. No difference there in terms of that, but we're going to put it back as it was because that's how I want it on my gun. So again, we just want to have it loose when we're going in. It does come with a little bit of Loctite on there, as you guys can probably see there, but I still recommend putting more on there because I'm kind of a Loctite junkie. But we used these at the Battle of the Bills, or prototypes of these rather, at the Battle of the Bills last year. I don't think those had any Loctite, and those guns got ran hard and never had any issues, but I'm sort of paranoid about it, so there is that. Side note on the Battle of the Bills, while I'm kind of just putting this back in, we put some photos out and of that ahead of time, kind of sneak peek stuff. Nobody noticed that that's what these were. Very interesting. So with this particular setup here, the can comes back to here, so I don't want to put it any more far up because then it would just hit the can, the MLOK slots would. So as you guys can see, you can adjust it to wherever we want on the gun right now in this position, or tighten down the MLOK first. Make sure we get that all snugged up. There we go. Now at this point, again, you're going to put it wherever you want on your gun. Some guys might like it down, I don't know. If you want to get freaky, go ahead. And then we're just going to tighten this piece down.
And then once it's snugged down, I mean, you can pull on it, you pick the gun up, it ain't going anywhere. And as you guys can see there, it's going to stay right nice in line. And really on this one, it's kind of hitting the base of the sight there, and that's kind of the limiter there. But regardless, it's nice and tight right up there on the rail.
We have the camera set to as close as I can get it to what I see here with my human eye. We do have a good bit of illumination tonight. It's probably a 2/3 full moon out here. And the spot that you guys see right there, where the wood fence meets the iron fence, is approximately 35 feet away. And then those trees there in the background are approximately 40 to 50, just depending on the actual tree itself. And the output that you guys are seeing right now is from the 500 lumen mini model there, and you guys can see it has a good hotspot. The hotspot at this distance is probably hard to say, 12 to 15 feet, and of course we'll run the candela numbers and all that stuff in here on your screen. I have reviewed both of these lights, the standard versions anyway. If you guys want really in detail overviews of the light, you can check that out. But that is the beam pattern. You guys can see it has somewhat of a good edge. And again, in this video we're just kind of giving you guys an idea of the lights, but mostly focused on the new mount system. Anyway, so that is how it works. Of course, for those new, I guess we'll just cover that real quick. You can quick press and hold for momentary on, and then if you press and click, it will give you the constant on. The camera hasn't changed, nothing has changed, but this is the output here from the dual fuel, and we do have it with the 18650 in there, so we're getting full power out of it right now. And you guys can see hotspot there, about the same, well, maybe a little bit bigger than the 500 lumen version, but just the intensity is much more so. It still has a little bit of an edge there on the spill, but decent spill overall. Just to kind of compare, 500 lumen version, 1500 lumen version, side by side there on the fence. You guys can kind of see how they line up and stack up in terms of intensity at this distance. Now we're looking across the lake, and the tree line over there is about 110 yards away from where the camera is right now. There used to be more trees. For folks who have been here a while, you know that, but a new lot got torn down, so there's not as many trees now. Obviously the neighbors have lights on and stuff like that you guys can see as well, but that is the beam pattern there from our 500 lumen Scout. It reaches across there pretty well for a tiny little light. I'm not mad about that at all in terms of the candela and the throw. You know, I always try to give you an idea of what it's like to my human eye, because the camera's not always the same, but I don't know that I would really, like right now, if there was birds in those trees, I'm not sure I'd be able to see them individually. If there was, you know, a person over there, I'd easily be able to identify them in that lot that's just been cleared out for sure though. And then just for contrast, here is the dual fuel, and again, it's definitely just, it's got a little bit more intensity to it for sure. And I feel confident saying most birds I'd be able to see there with my human eye. I do have good vision, for anybody wondering. Surgically altered, one of the few good things the Army did for me. I take that back, that's in jest. One thing you guys can see in all seriousness though, is that this bush right here, which is a rosemary bush that my dogs pee on all the time, that's approximately 10 feet in front of where we're at least this point right here. And you guys can see the spill there. It's still covering it up, lighting it up. You still have good situational awareness on it. And again, 500 lumen version, 1500 lumen, and of course the candela difference as well. At this point, I think we've given you all the details on the lights that we can, with the exception of a couple. Number one's going to be price point. We'll roll in the different price points on these two here that you can find it. I should also add that Big Daddy Unlimited, generally speaking, has the best prices on Surefire. So there is that. Again, there'll be a link down below if you guys want to pick them up. But the one disadvantage I've found to this system, and literally it's only one at this point, is that with certain mounts like this one, certain mounts are extended for the Scouts, and sometimes you do want to extend your light. So for instance, I tried mounting this one up here on my MP5, and on the MP5 with the new Magpul handguard on there, you just can't get it on there because of the way the sling mount is on there, if that makes sense. But if I was able to extend it about 2 inches, I would have been able to, right? So while that is a very rare instance, it is one thing to kind of consider at this point. It's hard to do. That said, you could use like a 1913 mount and stick it on there. It would just be kind of redundant, you know. It'd be buying a mount for a light that you're not supposed to have to buy a mount for, if that makes sense. But that really is the only exception to the system where I kind of think the older style has an advantage. Other than that, man, these things are pretty darn strong. You Loctite them down. In my experience, they're simply not going anywhere. And in terms of Surefire Scouts just in general, as of when I'm filming this video, October 2020, all of my long gun home defense guns have Surefire Scouts on them. So kind of that, you can't get a better endorsement, I guess you'd say, from me than that. That's about as good as it gets. You know, the guns that we do trust our families' lives to have Surefire Scouts on them. So there is that. So that's pretty much it, guys. I think we covered everything that we can here in the video. If you have any questions about the mounting system, the lights, anything like that, you can always post down below in the comments section. If you aren't subscribed, go ahead and hit subscribe. If you're not don't have the notification bell turned on, go ahead and hit that as well. And then if you're not signed up for my email list, recommend doing that. There's a lot of censorship these days on social media, so that tends to be a good way to prevent the social media giants from keeping you from my content. All I do is send out at most once a week an email with the videos of the week and the deals of the week, and that's pretty much it. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.